What's going on, guys? It's Sean from Southwestern Studios. I am here in Tiananmen Square in Beijing, China, and we're going to do a review of a Sony A7R II 2470 2.8G Master for travel photography purposes, and enjoy the sights, the sounds, and the culture along the way as well. So let's get started. Alright guys, what's going on? This is Sean. This thing's messed up. Okay. Alright guys. What the hell? So what's going on, guys? This is Sean from Southwestern Studios. Today we are heading to Beijing, China, and I'm going to show you the stuff that I'm taking with me. We're going to do some travel photography, be out there for how many days? 6 days? Yeah, like 6 days, something like that. It's going to be a long time. Be out there for 6 days. I'm going to show you exactly what I have in the bag. Now let me show you the bag that I have first, and then I'll show you exactly what I'm taking to. Okay, so what we have here is a A7RII Urbanite BP15 camera backpack. And basically what it is, it's a backpack that holds camera stuff in it. It's a camera gear bag, but it doesn't really look like that. It just looks more like a normal backpack. It's really good as a travel one. Inside here, you open this up, you can fit a 15-inch MacBook Pro. Right now I just have the iPad because I don't need the MacBook in China. This right here just holds whatever knickknacks. The cool thing about it is if you open this part up right here, so this top goes down to about right here. This is what we're looking at. So it has a decent amount, and it can hold, this is about how long it'll hold. It'll hold one of these flashlights. This is the Photox Metros Plus flashlight, and this is about the length that part has too as well. So it works out pretty decent. And then inside here we just have some odds and ends, a lot of things for knickknacks, got for the SD reader, for water, just little here, whatnot. All right, but the cool thing is though is, again, it looks like just a normal backpack on the outside. So if you're just wearing it day to day, you really wouldn't notice too much. But I'm going to show you exactly, let's get my ugly feet out of the way, I'm going to show you exactly what we have in the bag. So today we're going to be taking the Sony A7R II 2470G Master, and here I have the 70-300G lens from Sony, and also the Photox Odin 2 trigger, and then inside here we have a little Sony little battery charger for phone, camera, whatever. So one of the good things about this backpack is the fact that it zips from the back. So when you're carrying it around, it's virtually impossible to steal any of your equipment. They may be able to get this part right here, this stuff, but if you don't carry anything important there, it's not that big of a deal. All your important stuff should be in here. Nobody will be able to get it. It's really good. Anyway, so like I said, nobody will be able to get anything from that backpack, and it doesn't look like it carries camera gear. So when you're walking with it on the street, it looks just like any other backpack. Really nice, and it works with pretty much any outfit that you happen to have. So again, I'm going to show you right here. This is the A7RII Urbanite BP15 camera backpack, and on Amazon or B&H Photo right now it's looking at $159.94. So if you're looking for, and it holds a 15-inch MacBook Pro, it holds a lot of stuff. But if you're looking for something nice and sleek and slim that does hold a lot of things, it's great. Okay, so one of the cool things about mirrorless and Sony cameras in particular is the fact that they fit nice in here. If we were to use the Canon equivalent to this, it would not fit straight out. It'd be just too big. You ready? You got your stuff? Got this, and let's go. Alright, so what do I expect out of the A7R II? I expect ultimate amazing image quality, which I know I'm going to get. To be able to crop things a lot, which will help too as well. So even if I use 300 at the farthest end, I should be able to crop in even further and still get usable photos. So with the 2470 2.8G master lens, it doesn't balance very well with the base body of the A7 series. It's far too front heavy, and it's, quite frankly, it's too big. But due to the fact it does fit into this bag, believe it or not, it fits into this bag right there. And one thing about that is that since I can kind of stuff a few odds and ends in there, I decided not to use the battery grip, but I decided just to go ahead and use the base body with the lens itself. So now we're going to review the A7R II for travel purposes and see if it's a camera that can hold up to what it needs to get done, and if it's suitable for travel, which I can tell you right now it is, but it's just not me talking. I want to put it through its paces, and we're going to show you its pros, cons, everything about it. So pretty much I'm just using for video mostly just the iPhone 5 and just this small little holder for it too as well. And the reason why I use it is because the phone itself I've had for like 4 years already. It works fine. The video is not great, but it works decent. And that really mostly too is that if somebody goes and tries to pickpocket it, it's not that big of a deal. You know, it's already old enough that I'm not going to get much for it, and they won't get much for it either too as well. So they'll be looking for somebody with iPhone 7s, and they won't really care about this little cheap, you know, phone. So it really works out in areas in which you might be by yourself for the most part, or not be having to worry about looking around everything too as well. That's what I'm using to vlog this with for the most part. I'll be taking some 4K video of the cool stuff, but just for the regular everyday talking part of it, it's going to be just an iPhone 5. All right, so we're out here right outside Olympic Stadium. I'm going to show you some shots of it. There are a lot of things going on, I should say, here on the weekends. Many people. Right now it's about 9ish, something like that, but still hopping. So let's see how this part goes. Okay, they're over here. Okay, so I'm going to take a quick night portrait outside the bird's nest. Now, we have Jennifer's right there. Her father, he has the light. It's just a 1-speed light with little diffuser on there. A7R II. We'll just take a picture and see how it comes out. All right, ready? 1, 2, and... All right, we're outside of Tiananmen Square, and as expected, there are a lot of people today. I'm going to try and see what kind of shots I can get. It's going to be a little bit tough, I can tell you that right now, but I'm sure I'll figure something out. 2470 2.8 G Master is going to save the day. I'm pretty sure it will. So let's see what I can figure out. Like I said, you can see the throngs of umbrellas and things like that. So I'll be fighting that every step of the way. And right now, the pollution, the smog's not too bad outside. It's decent. It's not like it used to be. So I think we're okay breathing as far as that goes. All right, so one of the things about travel photography that you can do is it's cool to get kind of unusual shots that you wouldn't be able to get under normal circumstances. So what we're going to do is I'm going to have Jen's family go up to the top. Now keep in mind there is no photography allowed. It's kind of a very strict code of conduct and rule thing, but it's really hard, if almost impossible really, to get pictures of yourself standing up top there, which is very cool to do. So what I'm going to do is, if you look down over on this side over here, I'm going to go stand over there on this opposite end. They're going to go up to the top. I'm going to use the 70 to 300G and see if I can get a nicely framed shot of them up in the top with all the letters, with Mao's picture, with the flag in there too, and also with them in the shot. All right, so I'm back on the other side of Tiananmen Square, and it's a little bit of a walk, about 1 kilometer fully around. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait until they come out there. I'm going to put the 70 to 300G on. Hopefully I'm not going to get fried. And we're going to see if I can get them in a photo like that. So for me, that's what travel photography is all about, is being able to get, not only show the sights and the sounds, but also to be able to take photos that you just normally wouldn't be able to get in other circumstances. All right, so while I'm waiting for them to go up to the top right there, the sun is blazing hot, and I will become a true redneck if I don't get some shade. So right now, I'm standing in like the smallest bit of shade. that I can find. Anywhere outside of this this darkness is like really hot. Once I get the all clear sign, I'm gonna head out there to that middle part and go take the photos for them and see what I can come up with. Okay, now right now I'm in the Forbidden City, and one thing I can tell you about this, again, is that it is huge. It's a big mass expanse. And it used to be that once you came in, you never came out. But now that kind of thinking is out the door, and it turns, it's different now. There's a lot going on. So today, shooting here at Tiananmen Square has actually been fairly simple. The weather is decent. As you can tell right around here, it's really just many clouds. It's just cloud cover, that's it. So it's basically like a huge softbox. So there's not a huge point in having to worry about any sort of flash photography whatsoever. Later, if the sun comes out, it's going to be a different story. But right now it's pleasing. There's a little bit of rain coming down. You might be able to see a couple of droplets on here. I'm not sure if you can see or not. The A7 series cameras and these ones, if it's a tiny bit of rain, I wouldn't worry too much about it. All right, so one of the main things about using the 2470 and the A7R II, as far as travel goes, is that the pictures you get are unparalleled quality, no doubt about that. Now, what's the big trade-off? The big trade-off is portability, weight, size, things like that. Now, it does fit in the backpack quite okay, and even though the lens is really big, after time of me just walking and carrying it around, it's not really that big of a deal. I don't put it on my neck, so I don't allow it to kind of pull me down from the neck. So I just carry it pretty much just like this, with the strap wrapped around my wrist arm. That way, if it falls, nothing happens, or if somebody tries to take it, they won't be able to get it. So, so far, it's been okay, actually. We've been walking around for a few hours already, and I haven't had any issues with its weight. And every once in a while, I'll take out the 70 to 300 and get a couple shots on that one. It's a bit more cumbersome than it should be, obviously, but it does work. The ergonomics of it, it is top heavy, and it will kind of drop on you like this, so you'll be kind of forced to keep it up or hold it up by the lens itself. But again, without the battery grip would have been a lot of extra weight, and I just really couldn't be bothered to do that. Just wanted to see how the base camera, the base lens performs. So we're finished up with the Forbidden City now, and as you can see, there are people everywhere, and I mean everywhere. It's closing, it's 5 o'clock, it's closing up. It's 5 o'clock, Forbidden City is finished up. We took all the photos, pretty much everything we wanted to. It's really big, it's bigger than you imagine, so we're going to try and battle our way past the traffic. Hopefully we get some food, and then see what we can do from there. All right, morning everybody. Is day 3, right? Day 3? Yeah, day 3. And I was trying to think about what to bring. I decided we're going to some garden area. One thing to know, I went through 4 batteries already. The A7R II, that's one of the weaknesses, is it just burns through batteries left and right like you wouldn't believe. So if batteries are a deal breaker for you, then you won't want it. Okay, so I'm currently over at the Summer Palace now. Now, one of the main challenges of doing travel photography here in China is the fact that there are always people around. It's a little bit tough. So in order to get the nice scenic pictures that you see in the postcards and things like that, it takes quite a bit of effort. Now, it certainly is doable, but it'll take a lot more patience sometimes, and really with the amount of people that are over here, it takes a combination of luck and then also you on your end, on the shooter's end, knowing exactly when to take the shot and being able to quickly react to when you have a little bit of that good luck. So that's one of the things here that is going on. We have we got a lake we have to cross. Now, if you take a look and look at the time lapse, and you can see that lake is quite big. So we are going to have a long way to walk. So generally, when I'm traveling, I wrap around the shoulder strap like this, hold on to it like this, and it stays right here. If anybody takes it, it's stuck on here, it's not going to leave. And this, I just keep it like this most of the time. It's comfortable enough. The lens, it's kind of heavy, it's pretty heavy, but I can handle it, so it's not that big of a deal. This is how I usually keep it. I don't necessarily put it around the neck, because if I do this, it just drags too much. There's no reason for it. I like to keep it at the ready, so I usually keep it just like this. That way, real quick, I can pop up, bang, 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 something like that, or something else, bang. Doesn't matter. Keep it like this. Nobody takes it out. Again, it's a little bit heavy, but not that big of a deal. I can still carry it, not a problem. There's many scenic spots over here. But just finding a spot that doesn't have people all around it is the biggest challenge right now. So I'm having to kind of cut out certain parts and get creative with the angles in order to get decent portraits without any people or a whole lot of people in it. But these places here are few and far between. So keep in mind when doing travel photography like this, know the demographics of where you're going to. And you're probably going to have to adjust your expectations accordingly, because it most likely won't go anywhere near you're expecting it to go. So pretty much expect the worst, and then you will love what you get for the best.
在汽车。30啊。我应该啊。
So, as aforementioned, the battery goes quite fast, and right now I'm looking at about 57%, and I haven't even been shooting that long, and I haven't shot that many shots. Again, it's a little bit of a challenge when you bring a camera such as this, because it's very specialized. Alright, so as for the aforementioned 42 megapixel camera on this, it's huge. The file sizes are huge, they're monstrous. and it's going to really eat up your memory card space and any space that you choose to put on any iPads, iPhones, things like that. So again, that's one of the cons. Not only that too, because of that 42 megapixel sensor, you have to be real careful, especially with your shutter speed. So when you're taking your shots, you're going to get a bit more blur out of them than you normally would, as far as like an APS-C 24 megapixel sensor goes, or even like the 12 megapixel A7S2. So that's a big deal. Now, as you can see, it's getting a whole lot darker around here, and I'm probably dark myself. So that means it's nighttime, and we're going to test the low light portion of this camera. And that means we're going to test the low light portion of this particular combo as far as travel photography goes. Now we're going to be shooting at 2.8 for the most part for any sort of nighttime activities. Now the good thing about this is the fact that when I did my A6000 review, I was shooting pretty much at f4 and I got decent results. So because I'll be able to have that one-stop difference and also have the benefits of the full frame sensor, I'm expecting to get even better results this time. Alright, so also one more little travel tip. When we have this downtime, one thing that you can do is now, say when we are all trying to deal with our own photos and trying to get everything sorted out, all that, space becomes an issue and people find themselves tending to run out of space more often than not. So what's happening right now, what you can do is, if you need space or if you're trying to shuffle space around, using Apple products is a great idea because it allows us to all airdrop to each other everything that we need, and then we can delete later on and make that space, but each person has exactly what they're looking for and there's nothing unnecessary there. That way they can have more space for more pictures, more videos, things like that. So again, time like this is great because we're sitting here forced on time for an hour, hour and a half, however long, and we are able to now sit there and get the videos and the photos and whatnot to each other in a timely fashion, get that all sorted out. That way when it comes time for the next adventure, we're all ready to go. All right, off the bus and heading up to the Great Wall. One more quick travel hack too as well. Pretty much wherever you're going, if you're going anywhere outside of your home country where you know everything, always make sure bring at least a little bit of either toilet paper or tissue paper with you. You don't have to bring a roll, but just bring enough for maybe a couple of trips, because a lot of places like that, they will be out and you just won't have access to anything like that. So in this case, it really is best to be safe rather than sorry. All right guys, we made it to the Great Wall of China. There's 1 million people here. It's packed. It's a long way to the top, but you know what? It doesn't matter. We came here to do some travel photos, and that's what we're gonna do. So let's do it. Now, unfortunately, again, like I said, I know I look ridiculous. It's okay. I'm just trying to keep. I was sunburned yesterday, so I'd rather not get a double dose of sunburn. So unfortunately, there are a lot of people here. We are in pretty much smack dab of the middle of the peak season in the Great Wall. So there are less photo opportunities, but we're going to do our best to make sure to get every photo opportunity. Now, as you can probably see from behind me, each fort, there we go, essentially becomes like a choke point, but with no let up in sight. So once you get past it, there's still 1 million people too as well. So this is the part where it gets a little bit tough because it's hard to enjoy the splendor when you're enjoying it with about 2 million other people on any particular given day. So basically the reason why there's a huge choke point here is because we went from about 10 lanes of people worth or space for people, 10 spots, to 1. So immediately we see what happens when something like that goes down. Okay, now I've chosen this particular spot right here. I don't know if you can really kind of see it from here, but this spot's going to be, I believe it's going to be ideal for a nice high-speed sync portrait. The sun's on and off, it's coming out, it's coming in. Right now we definitely have shadows in the ground. We're going to try and make it look nice and mysterious where there's nobody around for miles. It's just her on here. But as you can see, there's a lot of people. So we're going to get the shot, but it's going to have to be quick. And we're going to have to basically be ready to take the shot at any second. I can tell you right now though, it's gonna be great. Just gotta wait for the opportune timing. It's been a long day, I'm a little bit tired and not so windy yet though, but we're getting higher. All right, we made it to the very top. I'm sunburned, I'm fried. There's a lot of people here. I've been having to back and forth, shove people around to get shots, things like that. But we've hopefully got a few good ones. Looking forward to showing them with you, and then let's continue on the journey. Welcome to the top of the Great Wall of China. All right, so one of the staples of Chinese food that Westerners probably won't like are chicken feet right here. In this case, these are, I think, pickled, right? Pickled chicken feet. Generally, I can eat this food, but I don't really like it because it's chicken food. But it's a delicacy to a lot of people. So we're gonna go ahead and eat it. Again, the taste is not bad. I just not a fan of eating a foot from a chicken. I mean that's mostly it. Like here's the toenail. If you look, it's pretty gross. Look, there's the toenail right here. See, that's the toenail. But it's okay. Hold on. Now this tastes somewhat similar to a in the States, one of those little green trapeze peppers. That's what the taste is like. Something similar to that. It's really not great. I don't think that the taste is all that great. And again, knowing that you're eating like chicken feet, but it's something that many Chinese people, they really love to eat. So it's considered a delicacy to them. Not so much to me. Yeah, she loves it. She loves it. Me, not so much. But I can eat it if I have to. It's not that big of a deal. And in case you're wondering what it tastes like, it's very squishy. It's like eating rubber, something like that. Like kind of eating like rubber. That's the best way to put it. Taste again is okay. I just don't really care for the fact that it's chicken feet, but can still eat it. So we're finished with the Great Wall. So I had a couple of accidents. Luckily the camera is safe. I was holding this, and then what you are seeing the video with, I was holding that too, and I was trying to run up with a couple of spots so I can get in spot for a picture. Somehow I slipped on the way up. I came crashing down, this hand, boom, like this. This one took most of the brunt, so luckily the lens hood was on. It saved the lens from damage. I checked the camera. So far so good. I just checked the lenses, changed the lenses again a couple of times just to make sure everything was on and off fine. Seems okay, so I'll do more testing and check and see how it comes out down the road. Also hit my head. The Great Wall was not meant for tall people. And also, if you look down here, you can see one right there and one right there, where I busted up my shins on the same fall with these two right here. But luckily I'm okay, just got it washed off and all that. We'll see what happens tomorrow, how I feel. Right now I'm okay, but I just need something to eat and a cold, super cold drink. Other than that, it was a success and we got plenty of good pictures. And right now I'm at a temple called Yongsigong, one of the many numerous temples here in Beijing, and we're gonna head out there pretty soon and go take some photos to see what I can do. Alright, so one of the things about doing street photography is that for the most part you can do whatever, especially here in China, but sometimes people will get very upset and they will want their photo taken, whatever. Now, if I felt like asserting myself and taking the picture, I can take it. Nobody can say anything because it's not against the law. So over here in China, again, it's a public space. You're taking your photo, or if you're taking somebody's photo, it's okay. And one of the things about doing street photography, and this is most places, not just China, is the fact that for the most part, you can be able to get whatever shot you want without too much of a hassle. But sometimes people just don't want you to take their photo, even though it's completely legal. So there are other ways to go about it. So if people go crazy and they start getting all up in your face and all that, sometimes it's better to be safe rather than sorry, and rather than assert yourself and say, it's not against the law, I'm sorry, Auntie, I don't know what to tell you, you can just go ahead and take a little walk, let the situation calm down, and then figure out a different way to get that photo. So there's one small street photography tip out here as well. Like I said, for the most part, people are cool, you can take their photos, but sometimes they just get all pissy and nasty, whatever. No problem. I still got the photo. They don't know I got the photo. They don't care. They're still playing Mahjong. That again, not just about in China, but pretty much wherever you go. If you come across any sort of like, anyone like hassling you or getting upset at you for taking their photos, if you got the photo, just walk away. If you didn't get it, you can, and you really need to get it. If you didn't get the photo and you really need to get it, then just figure out a different solution to do it. Anyways, that's just some little street photography tips on how to deal with errant people. Again, you are in the clear. You are within your lawful rights to take a photo. And even if somebody says you can't, whatever, just tell them again, call the police, and they'll stop. They won't say anything about that, you know. If they really feel like they're itching for an argument, they want to call the cops, then for me that's a cool thing, because then it makes it more interesting. For others, maybe not so much. Maybe they want to get the cops involved, but it's all good. So anyways, that's the tips for now. You know?
酸奶4块，矿泉水1块，老北京冰棍1块，冰镇老北京酸梅汤。正宗老北京酸奶4块，矿泉水1块，老北京冰棍1块，老北京酸梅汤。
So here's another travel photography hack. We're here at Wanfujing. There's a million people, and we're taking night photos now. Now, if you want to be able to get some better night photos and more steady ones without the shake, then this is what you're gonna do. You put your backpack in the front. It's good because it keeps you away from thieves. You turn your camera on like so. You pop this screen out. You look at the bottom, and now, bang! You have a nice, sharp photo. And it's like three times stabilization now. Really good. Really helps out with these kind of hard to get ones. If you're a little bit too shaky, just put it up on your bag like this, and you're golden. on, guys? So I'm at the tail end of the trip, and we're now going to talk about how the 2470 G Master 2.8 and A7R2 performed out in real-world situations for travel photography purposes. First things first, I'll just say it now, and saying that again, the images that you get from this are of utmost quality, and if that's what you're looking for, and you have the cash to get that, then that's something that you definitely should look into getting. Especially if you're something like maybe like a landscape travel photographer, things like that, and you need every single megapixel that you can get. It is a camera that will serve you well. There's no doubt about that. But for more general purposes, this is where we want to get into the nitty-gritty of the subject. Now, I've spent about 7 extensive days shooting with the A7R2 2470 G Master. Every once in a while I put the 70-300G on for real specific shots, but for the most part it was just the base 2470 2.8. From my experience, it was a lot. I filled up 2 128 gig cards, 2 64 gig cards, and I've pretty much run out of space on my phones, my iPad, what have you. Looking forward to getting back to the computer, getting it all on the hard drive, and going through one with Lightroom. Lots and lots and lots of pictures to sort through, you know. But there's plenty of good ones, but just a lot of stuff to sort through. Now, as far as how it performs in the real world, as you would expect, it performs great. However, there are kind of a few flaws that I'll mention later on in this review, in this talk that we have. But one thing that I do want to say though is that the image quality, again, utmost perfection for the most part for a 35mm full frame sensor. At this moment, you can't really get any better than that. So it works out really well for what its intended purpose is for, is to give you super high res photos at a few expenses. So without further ado, let's get started. Now, right here is the camera in question, and I wrote down everything that I noticed. Again, this is all real world, real environment tested things. I don't get super technical with these things. I just want to show you exactly what works, what doesn't work, and what the end results can be. So, all right, number one, we're going to start off with the pros. Okay, so here is the be-all, end-all of the Pro on this camera for travel photography. You get ultimate image quality. There is no doubt about it. It's just great. You get amazing dynamic range. The files are super flexible. You can lift the shadows, you can drop the highlights, you can do anything you need to do, and you will probably still get a usable photo. Plus, you can crop now. So even if you didn't get the reach you needed, you can still do some cropping and get that reach without a whole lot of degradation to the image, which is nice. Okay, so speaking of cropping, if your lens isn't long enough, and now here's one good thing about this camera. If your lens just isn't long enough and you need a bit more reach, you can, if you want to sacrifice some megapixels, what you can actually do is you can put it into its APS-C mode. And when you put it into its APS-C mode, what happens is you get a 1.5 times crop. And so if you throw on a 24-70, it effectively becomes like, if you throw on this 24-70, now with this whole, completely with the whole camera, you have from 24mm to about 105 f4's worth of a lens, which can come in handy again if you need that extra range, or if you're looking to do some maybe like portrait work during your travels, whatever, what have you. It comes in handy, especially with the 70-300G. Now you're looking at about 450mm worth. The only problem is though is that it drops it down a lot of megapixels, so I think you're ending up with around like 18 or so. So what I was saying was that crop factor really helps for photography if you need that extra reach and you're not going to be cropping in a whole lot more. There you get pretty much most of the performance, a little bit of extra reach at the loss of some resolution. So again, if you're printing out super huge things, then obviously crop mode is not going to work for you. But on the other hand, if you are shooting your 4K video, you'll get more reach and you will have better performance. You'll get sharper results and you'll also get better low light results, which is a plus in my book. Next on we have, okay, under normal travel conditions, this camera is not going to overheat on you unless you were going crazy in the sweltering heat nonstop, shooting crazy 4K video. Right now, as it is, I've shot and shot and shot and shot all day, all night, all day long. No overheating, anything like that. It's worked. Okay, here we go. Like I said, great for huge blown up landscapes. If that's your forte, then this camera will be the one for you, no doubt. Any of the other ones just won't be able to keep up with the kind of files that this camera puts out. Okay, Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi functions very simple. You can send it over your phone. If you took a look at my A6000 video, which I will put right here, I talked about how the Wi-Fi was great for traveling because say if you brought an iPhone, iPad, Android, whatever, you can easily get the app for them, be able to hook up their phone to this camera and get everything they need from it just like that. That leaves you the time to edit it later on, but they get all the photos they want so they can go do whatever. You get to keep, nothing happens to it, but they're satisfied because then they don't have to wait for you to edit it. So this does that very well. All right, and for travel situations, that's essential, again, if you're traveling in groups, because everybody's gonna want pictures. It's just simple as that. All right, so the gear fits into a small bag. This may look like a huge lens and camera combo. I guess with the lens on there, it's pretty big. But the thing is, though, is that this combination does fit in my bag, and it fits nice and snug. If I was using like a 5DS or something, there was no way that would fit. I would be out of luck, or I would have to really make some severe changes to the space in there and fit a whole lot less. But as it is now, I was able to fit A7R II, the 2470 2.8 G master, and also the 70 to 300 G lens, along with a GoPro power bank, a bunch of batteries in the compartment, and that's only about half the bag too. It's not a huge deal. So I was able to fit the entirety of it in there. So again, if you're looking for a more compact camera, then this is one that you would definitely like to take a look at least. The form factor, both the cameras and the lenses, it's okay, it's not the greatest, but you'll get used to it. It take a couple of days and all of a sudden you won't be paying attention yet to this camera. It's not as ergonomic as most DSLRs, but that's the price you pay to have such a small form factor, but with such good image quality, good resolution. Okay, the autofocus on it is quick and snappy, and it does its job. Every once in a while it'll hunt, but for the most part you're good to go. You won't have to worry too much about it. That's plus. It's plus in my book. If you take this out there, you're not going to be worrying about whether the autofocus is up to par or not. You won't, because it is up to par. All right, USB charging on the go. So if you plug it into right here, you will see a little USB component there. Gone are the days where you have a huge DSLR, a bunch of huge batteries, and have to lug around a huge charger to charge them up to as well. In this case, any USB charger will work, and pretty much any little mini USB cable will work too as well. You'll be able to charge this up and keep the batteries, going for as long as they can. And I'll get to the batteries a little later on. All right, let's see here. Now, and also another thing too as well is that you don't need, for travel photos for the most part, you don't need extremely crazy bokeh, because for traveling photos you want to see the background, you want to see exactly where you're at. There's no point to go to the Great Wall of China and then start shooting at 1.2 and blowing it out completely so all you see is the model. There are many other places that don't require a whole lot of traveling to go to get visuals like that. If you want to go to the Great Wall of China, you got to be looking at shooting around f4, f5, 6, f8, something like that, to make sure that you get the background there so people can see where you have been. I think thus is the whole point of travel photography and such, especially if you're going to be in the photos. My opinion. All right, and again, it does have great video options, great 4K video options. With the crop mode, you get better low light performance and just sharper performance whatsoever. So that works out really good. Overall, the pros of this camera really make it an attractive choice for taking it out and basically doing travel photography and getting as much out of each image as you can. I've talked pretty much about the pros and what I like about this camera. Now I'm going to talk about what I don't really like about this camera, and some of them are pretty big, and I mean that literally. So number one is the horrible battery life. When you are shooting with the A7R II, you're gonna watch the battery get sucked down dry real fast, and you need to look at least having 3 batteries each day, 3 charged batteries each day. It's that bad. The battery is going to go down and down and down and down and down and down, especially if you leave it on. No matter what you're doing, you're just going to watch that sucker go just like that. I went through like 8, 9 batteries though, and I had to charge every single night in order to keep going. I really shouldn't have to do that, but I like taking a lot of photos. You know, whenever the opportunity pops up, I like to take photos. And in this case, that battery life performance was very, very poor. So there you go, horrible battery life. Now with the lens, with this lens right here, the 2870, and no battery grip or anything like that, I'll tell you, it's unbalanced. It is, and it's constantly falling forward no matter what. Now, as I was walking around, I got used to the weights. I'm in decent shape, so I got used to the weight, and it just kind of held it around somewhat like this. So it became not much of a problem, but it's still unbalanced, and it will take you a while to get used to it if you so decide to use that. And if you're looking for something that's really ergonomic, then this is not going to be your cup of tea. This isn't meant to be an action camera, but sometimes you do want to fire off some shots in rapid succession. Now, in this case, you can do it. You have 5 frames per second. I wish it was faster, but it's not. It's 5 frames per second, it's decent. But the problem is though, is that you do run into a big buffer lag. So once you fill that buffer up, you gotta be prepared to wait even more before you finally are able to do much of anything. So if you're the type of person that really doesn't like to just wait around while your camera is writing the data to the memory card, then you should probably maybe, again, look into a different camera. The A7R II is not for you, because the buffer just will take forever to write, and you might miss important images if that's the kind of thing you're looking for. No flash. Now this is supposed to be a professional camera, so we'll give it that. But the thing is though, is that even on the A6000, the flash, in a lot of circumstances, you can get creative with it, and you can get some really good photos with that flash. You can get some really good pictures and portraits with that flash. With this one though, you're limited to using off-camera flash or an actual like on-camera unit. But the problem is though, it's big and bulky, and you don't want to be carrying it around with you. But for the most part, the flash and the trigger stayed in the bag, and I was just, you know, usually shooting natural light or just positioning, you know, Jen or whoever else in whatever way I could to get the shot. So with the A6000 or the with the A6000 series, the A6000 I'm saying, tends to be the superior travel camera because it's so light, and you do have that flexibility as far as the camera goes. You know, 11 frames per second, battery life not that bad. It's just a few huge odds and ends. Obviously, you know, the picture quality isn't going to be the same, but it's probably overall a more versatile camera for travel. The file sizes are huge files. So what's happening is, again, I filled up 2 128 gig cards and 2 64 gig cards in around 6 days, 7 days. That's too much. Now, also for my workflow, usually I'll just transfer it over to like Lightroom on the iPad just to get the ones I want to get first and over with. Then later I'll go back to the computer. But the problem is though, is that those files are so big, even when I use the Lightning, the SD card reader, put the SD card in there, got them on the iPad, and it still took forever for the ones to load up on the iPad. There was no way for me to choose which ones I wanted right away. So I had to wait for it to scroll down. And one day, I believe I was waiting for almost 45 minutes just for the entire thing to go down. Right now, I'm not gonna go through some of these pictures until I get back to SG, because it's just impossible. I'll be sitting there waiting for 2 hours for all the pictures to load up. So these huge files, even though you get the flexibility of them and the resolution of them, they're still a no-go if you're looking for just ease of use. All right, in crop mode, you get 18 megapixels worth of resolution, which is not great. It's less than the A6000, as a matter of fact. So that is kind of a handicap in and of itself, but that option is there, and you are under no obligation to use crop mode unless you choose to actually put it in yourself. Now, there is one thing though, is that crop mode cannot be accessed through your custom function or your custom buttons. It has to be done within the menu system itself, which to me is a little bit weird. Why that's not something that you should be able to do, because I believe it would be very useful for me if I was to access crop mode on the fly, rather than having to delve into gear, then go to number 6 and go to APS-C mode. It's a waste of time when you're doing travel photography. So that's something to take into consideration. And then the last thing that I have to say about this is that this camera, it's expensive, and then it's more expensive. You're looking about, at the very least, $6,000 if you're gonna get this combo right here. And again, ultimate image quality, but I'm not sure if $6,000 is worth it as far as travel photography is going. That $6,000 could probably be better spent on a different camera and a different maybe set of lenses that will give you somewhat the same performance, and you'll probably still have lots of money left over to save for other things. Who knows? Which brings me to my conclusion. This camera right here, for what it was and what it did, it was great. But it's the camera that I use for other things. I don't use it strictly for travel. I use it more for commercial purposes, and we do things that need high-res images, and this does the job. This really does the business. But if you're looking at this strictly for travel, then you have to ask yourself, are the trade-offs worth the reward, or is the reward worth the trade-offs that you're going to have to give? And those trade-offs are some big ones, because for as great as that picture is going to come out, and as snappy looking as that picture is going to come out on your computer screen, are you going to be using that? For sure you will appreciate every small detail that you see, but will everybody else that sees it, will they notice? Will they care? Chances are probably not. And if you're going to drop $6,000 just to go out there traveling, you know, that $6,000 could be, again, better saved by, or better used by getting maybe a little bit cheaper camera, getting a little bit more cheaper lenses, and then maybe you can take a couple of trips with that extra few $1,000s that you have saved over, and then you can test that camera out and see how it is for travel. Not much more to say about it. The Sony A7R II, coupled with 2470 2.8G Master, is a beast of a camera, of a lens. It gives you supreme optics, supreme image quality, at the expense of a very, very, very high price. But the main thing is, for travel, I would have to say that, again, unless you have plenty of cash in your hand and are really ready to burn it, I can't really recommend the A7R II ahead of other Sony cameras that can be purchased. If you really want a recommendation for travel camera, just buy the A6000. Get a couple of cheaper prime lenses, and get maybe the Zeiss 16-70 f4 zoom. Call it a day. You'll be happy. The pictures that you'll get will be great. If you do any sort of photo editing, Lightroom will really make those photos from the A6000 shine, as they will with this one right here. But you won't have to deal with those huge headaches that you deal with this particular combo right here. So, anyways, guys, thanks for taking the time to watch this. Thanks for listening to my long rant about this. But I just want to give you guys the information, give you guys the specifics about how this particular camera works for travel photography in general. Until then, it's been a long 7 days. I've shot a lot of photos. I got to get back to the computer, and I have probably about a good week's worth of editing to do. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Stay tuned for the next time. I'm probably going to review about the A7S II for travel photography, and then we'll see how that one does, especially in those really, really coveted low-light situations. Until then, this has been Sean from Southwestern Studios, currently in Beijing, ready to get out of here, and I will talk to you guys and see you guys on the next one. See ya.